guys, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. You join me today out in the A45S for what is going to be a very exciting video, because as you have seen via the title and thumbnail, the tuning is beginning on this car. I'm of course heading down to EST Performance today to get the first stage of tuning underway. We are of course going to be doing multiple different stages of tuning, but today we're going to be making a start, see where we can get initially. Of course we have been down to EST before. You guys may have seen that video where we basically met up with the guys there, Yusuf and the team, and got some baselines of the car. It was a very cold day, similar to what it is today actually. It did run a little bit higher than what Mercedes state, however still strong and healthy, all good for tuning. So I have about a 2-hour journey ahead of me at the moment. Road's absolutely filthy, so I imagine the car will be caked in mud by the time I get there, and then we'll catch up with Yusuf, get the car in the workshop, get tuning, get the car on the dyno after that, and see what we can get. But yeah, very, very excited to get the tuning underway on my A45S. Okay, so we're back here at EST, of course, joined with Yusuf. We've got Jamie over in the corner as well. Wasting no time, car is already on the dyno. We've done some baselines again. Obviously, we've already done the baselines, but we obviously just wanted to do another one just to make sure, which it made about the same, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, made pretty much the same power as last time. Obviously, last time we came in, it was a bit colder.
Yes, it was very cold, actually.
Yeah, it was snowing.
Yeah, it was.
So you have to take that into consideration, but yeah, there's about 7-8 degrees ambient temperature difference.
Yep.
So yeah, we're basically the same on brake horsepower, but we're about 20-ish Newton meters down. Had to swap the rear tires to the front, because the fronts have a habit of chewing themselves. So there was cord showing on them, but yeah, apart from that, everything else is pretty much very similar. A
couple of changes actually have gone on to the car since you last seen it.
Yeah.
Just the cosmetic bits, yellow calipers, new steering wheel, lowered and things like that.
Nice badges.
Yeah, nice little badge as well. So obviously we're kickstarting a pretty extensive tuning program with this.
We're revealing it now.
Yeah, well, partially. Yeah. Obviously just the first stage today, which is literally just software, isn't it?
It is, so we're just doing a stage 1 today, giving it a bit more life, and then we'll be back for other things later.
Definitely, definitely. I reckon once I get it tuned, then I'm going to want to do the second stage very soon as well.
But you know that.
Yeah, so, absolutely. But yeah, just software today. I think Jamie's got the ECU out at the moment, just reading that. And then yeah, tuning will start, we'll get some runs and ultimately see what it makes. What do these normally run off the top of your head?
On a stage 1?
On a stage 1, yeah.
So usually around about 450 to 460. Okay. 430 to 440 Newton meters, foot-pounds, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So a notable difference, just
it's a noticeable difference, but it's just the downpipe on these is super restrictive.
Yes,
So when you go into stage 2 with the downpipe, even a sports cat makes such a massive difference to the way the car feels. But even with the stage 1, you will feel a noticeable difference on these.
Awesome. Brilliant. All right, we'll get this cracking, then the tuning will begin and get it on the dyno and see what it makes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to prise Jamie away from the laptop, just basically have a bit of a run through of what stage we're at now, really. So I guess we've got the base stage 1 on it now.
What we've done now is this particular car primarily is bench read only. So taking ECU off, read it via B-Flash.
Yep.
Taken the software, read the software, put it in WinOS. We've then modified the parameters, a couple of example maps. That's a fuel table, one of our maximum torque tables. We then modify it to our base file, flash it back onto the ECU, put it on the car, let the car warm up, do 3 or 4 base runs, get some data log, see where we are with timing, fuel ratio, boost pressures, see if we need to go up, need to go down, how we're playing, and then go from there really. Sometimes it takes a couple of versions, sometimes it takes 10, 15 versions.
Yeah, so we've got like your base map on now. I guess we'll get a baseline run now, see what it makes, and then
we'll put the ECU back on the car. One thing people always forget sometimes is that when you actually take an ECU off a car, you need to allow sometimes 1 to 2 minutes for the lambda sensors to turn on and actually activate. So we'll wait for all that, get the car up to temperature again, run it, see where we are on the dyno. Big thing with these is just making sure as we have to descale the torque to get around the factory gearbox, which we can't tune. Just have to make sure everything's happy. What we don't want to do is descale it too much just to get power out of it, especially at this level when heat is our main priority. Factory cat, factory APF. So cool. Put the ECU back on, let it warm up, get some base runs, and then go from there.
baselines are done.
So yeah, 50 newtons and 30 horsepower on the first version. A few little hiccups on the log we want to tweak out, a little bit of timing correction. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, pretty good. I reckon we can probably squeeze, I'd say to temperatures today, probably another 20, 30 newtons out of it, possibly another 10 horsepower. Biggest thing, as I said before, is just making sure we keep the EGTs in temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if people know already, but Mercedes actually, when these first came out, they didn't have an EGT sensor pre or post OPF and CAT. We found that since, so I think it was 2019 and 2020, didn't have it. Late 2020 onwards, and the new ones all have a sensor. So even Mercedes-Benz themselves obviously know that there is a serious heat problem on this car.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already found that just by putting on a sports cat, for example, or a D-Cat, you gain sometimes 15, 20 horsepower. Yeah. But yeah, I think we've got some more in it.
Cool, brilliant.
Couple of versions and we'll get what we got.
Carry on, awesome stuff. Okay, back in the car, ready for another little run. So we've done some tweaks on the base, basically.
Yeah, so just some revisions to make the car a little happier.
Yeah.
And we should be all right at the moment. See if we get any more power.
There we go. Another run done. So what was it that you adjusted from the base?
Air fuel ratio, ignition timing, and some smoothing on the boost profile.
Yeah, to unlock a little bit more.
Yeah, so rather than have a bit of an inrush on the 3 to 3,500, tapered that down and then put more in the mid-range that these are happy with. Didn't really gain anything, but we just smoothed out the profile in the middle. Actually, so we gained 4.3 horsepower by just being a bit smooth. We didn't actually ask for any more boost. We just smoothed out air fuel ratio and ignition curve.
Cool. Do you want to do any more?
Yeah, we'll do another run. So we'll save that one. And I think we got another. I want to get the torque up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Another 5, 6 horsepower would be nice as well.
Yeah.
So we'll save that. We'll do another run anyway, just to double check.
Okay, so final changes are going ahead, being flashed onto the ECU.
Yep.
However, there is a talking point. I know some people are going to be asking about a TCU, like a gearbox tune. There is a bit of a story and process behind that because we're obviously not doing it today.
Yeah, so Generation 1 has been possible for a while now with the help of, I think Magic Motorsport cracked it a few years ago, then B-Flash with ourselves. The problem with this car is it actually has 3 modules now, ECU, CPC and a TCU. The CPC you can do at the moment. You can buy a virginized one, code it to the car, tuned, or you can, some people can flash it, tune it, etc, etc. The biggest problem at the moment is the gearbox, like the Generation 1, is not tunable as far as we're aware. We've got pretty much all the tools you can get hold of. I know B-Flash have a box now and they're working on it for us, or starting working on it. The problem is at the moment is that RS3, MQB staff, even BMW, there's a massive, massive market for it.
Yeah.
In terms of development for a company for this, it's not a huge a market, so it seems to always be left to the bottom of the pile like the previous generation. But at the moment, the issue is that we can tune both of these, and we have done a couple of CPCs, but the problem is it only actually gives us a little bit more torque in terms of the CAN network. But the TCU, is, unfortunately, it's not a weak point, but because we can't tune it, you can't release the full potential because we need to put clutch pressure in there, release the torque limiters, faster shift speeds, all that stuff that we can do on the previous generation, we cannot do on this car. Like I said, we think this platform, with the gearbox tuned, CPC tuned, and the ECU, this turbo will do 550 horsepower on standard hardware. The fuel system seems to be really good. It's just the gearbox. So we basically have to work around the torque limitations of the gearbox to make the car happy. So in effect, we're descaling, a bit like if you do like a TDI ECU software without doing the gearbox software. Yeah, I'm hoping we can get it this year because there's so much time left on the table. We've not been able to produce the car we want to produce, really.
Well, it's got so much potential, evidently. I mean, if you reckon it's going to hit 550 brake on stock turbo.
Easy. The limitations, like I said, is the heat there. The charge cooling system on Mercedes is always really good because we can modify the software, so we turn the pumps on lower temp for a longer. We can do all that type of stuff. But yeah, Mercedes seem to over-engineer it, especially with the Generation 1. I mean, you can run them at 2.9 bar. Will at VRS Performance, we built one, and that was like 596 horsepower.
Wow.
And the only reason, I think, standard gearbox at the time, standard engine, ironically, it did actually go wrong at the time, but it was the coolant hose that come off, not the engine failure, not the gearbox failure. And the same with this car. I think it's got the potential. Yeah. But no, we'll get there.
But anything that can be done to this car will be done eventually. So that is why there's not a TCU map being done today. However, we're still going to have a lot of fun with the stage 1. So I guess, well, finish flashing the final amendments.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah, ready?
Good to go.
Brilliant. Yep. Final run then. Let's do it. Final run complete?
Didn't get what I wanted to out of it, purely because on the logs we've got a bit of knock correction. In terms of delta gains, 57, 58 newtons today. I believe 34, 35 horsepower.
Okay, yeah.
We normally see a little bit more in here. For whatever reason today, the car won't allow me to put any more ignition timing in. Boost pressure is, we keep it quite low on stage 1. It's about 2.2 bar, 2.25 bar. Stage 2, we're up to like 2.4, 2.6 bar. But you can see there's a little bit of where we'd normally see here, where we see the extra sort of 20, 30 newtons, 67 newtons gain. We're a little bit correcting there. But otherwise, yeah, limited again. Like I said, there's a reason why these cars get mega hot, why the factory had an EGT sensor.
So that's the reason basically it's just got a little bit too hot.
Yeah, so the problem is you can get this car to make silly power for one run. Once that cat's got heat in it and so is that OPF, the EGTs just go through the roof and you just cannot, you have to control it. So you end up with horrendous timing correction. So then you have to put more fuel in and a really rich air-fuel ratio these don't make power on. Like I said, normally, we still bang on where we want to be on the delta gains, but for today, I don't want to push any harder for the sake of it. Standard ECU allows 6.8, 6.9. You can now in manual mode go all the way to 7.2.
Perfect, nice.
Which is obviously 7.2 is now the gearbox limiter.
But
otherwise, yeah, you're definitely going to notice a big difference.
Perfect, thank you very much. Awesome, looking forward to that. So there we are then, that is a wrap for the stage 1 tuning on my A45S. Plenty of dyno runs and tuning sessions to come, of course. Again, a massive thank you to EST. You can find all their details down in the description down below. But for me today, that is it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please do make sure you leave a like and make sure to subscribe for all the adventures still to come.